Hey guys, I am Bianca. Welcome back to my channel. I am really excited for today's video because I'm going to be showing y'all some DIYs that involve Dollar Tree picture frames. So I think these came out so nice and I can't wait for y'all to see what I did. For the first one, I'm making the lighted tray that you saw. Now, I specifically picked these Certificate of Achievement Dollar Tree frames for this, and I'll let y'all know why in a little bit. I'm gonna make it look like wood by first giving the frames 2 coats of my white chalk paint on both sides, and then that way I can use my antique wax over that. Now, you don't have to do that. You can buy frames that already look like wood or whatever color you want to use. These 2 Dollar Tree signs are the exact same length as the picture frames, and they're going to help us create the sign. So that is why I use those specific frames that I just showed y'all. I'm doing the same exact thing that I did to the frames. I'm going to give these a couple of coats, let them dry, and then it'll be a good base coat so I can run wax over it. Okay, so now we're going to use my antique wax to go over it. And if you don't have it, you can definitely use brown paint. So what I like to do is make sure I use a bristled brush when I paint the white on. And when that dries, I also use this bristled brush to paint on the wax. And the reason for that is that it just looks more like it's wood. If you use a sponge brush, I don't think it would look as good. Now that the white paint is dried on the 2 small signs, we're going to do the same thing and paint on the wax. The plan was to actually leave on the little hardware pieces for the glass, but I decided to go ahead and take that off because once I put the glass back into the frame, you will be able to see these hardware pieces through the glass, and I don't want it to show that, so I'm just going to use my hot glue to hold the glass in place. I am also adding hot glue to the top and the corners. You don't want to add too much because then it would just seep out and you'll be able to see it through the glass. So now to set up the lighted tray, I'm going to add those 2 smaller signs, one on each side. I'm facing it this way, you know, with the open side facing the bottom. So this is what I'm talking about, how it fits perfectly on here. I'm going to just use my hot glue gun. You can use stronger glue like super glue or E6000. I actually tried some different 8x10 frames from the Dollar Tree and they were a little bit bigger. So this is what I mean when I say it fit perfectly on these specific frames. And now I'm going to add more hot glue and place the other glass frame on top. And that's pretty much it. I'm just going to use some fairy lights that I have and I'm going to turn them on and place them inside. That's why I left both of those sides open. So I'm setting that little black box in the back of it and then putting the lights inside of the lighted tray. Another thing you can do is if you don't want the bottom to show, you can just use like a poster board to cover it and then just the top frame, that glass part would show, if that makes sense. So of course you can style this many ways. One idea I had was to add these tea light candle holders from Dollar Tree. I picked up 4 of these because they were so pretty. I really like that green color. And then I added some Dollar Tree little tea lights. So one way you could do this is just stick them in there with the lights. I thought that looked really pretty as well. So this is the way I ended up leaving it. The lights, I left them completely on and not blinking or anything. And then I added all of these Dollar Tree items. The only things that are not Dollar Tree is the 2 stems, which are hops from Hobby Lobby, and then the big amber vase. But everything else is Dollar Tree. Okay, so this next one is going to be a flower box. I picked up 6 4x6 frames, and in this specific frame, because I like that little detail on the frame, I'm gonna leave the frames as is and I'm not gonna paint them. Now after removing everything, I am going to remove the hardware with just some stem cutters that I have. I actually got this idea from Jessica on Measure and Mix. She is an awesome DIYer. I will leave her YouTube channel below. I'm doing the same thing as the first DIY. After removing the hardware, I'm going to glue the glass frames on there. And for the same reason, I don't want the little hardware pieces to show through the glass. I'm going to hot glue 3 frames together at the bottom, and then I will hot glue the other 3 at the top. As you can see, the top row of the 3 frames are facing vertical, but I'm not going to glue them that way. I was just trying to see which way I wanted to do it. So I have the 2 sides of my frames glued together. They're off to the side. Now I'm going to use these giant craft sticks. I'm going to use 8 of them. I'm going to cut the ends off with my scissors, and then I'm going to stain them with the same antique wax. To make the flower box, we're going to use those craft sticks to connect it all together. So I'm going to add 4 on this side and 4 on the other side. Now, both sides are done. What you could do is use frames instead of craft sticks, and you can also use frames at the bottom too. But what I'm going to do is use a foam board from Dollar Tree for the bottom. So I'm just going to place the flower box on top, mark it with a pin, and then use my box cutter to cut that out. It's easier than using scissors. I originally was looking for rectangular frames because I could have probably just bought 2 and it would have been perfect, but I could not find any at my Dollar Trees. Now I'm going to use hot glue to attach the foam board to the bottom of the flower box. Okay, so now the flower box is ready. I'm gonna use these leaves from Dollar Tree. So I have about 4 of them. 3 of them look like this, and I didn't really like the colors on them, but I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna do to them so I can get the color I want. And this is the 4th one that I have. I also grabbed these cattails from Dollar Tree. Alright, so these next flowers are actually from the Giant dollar store. I think that's what it's called. These are really pretty. I think the quality is really nice for only $1.09 for each of them. So I only paid $4 because I picked up 4 of them. I really like them. I think they're so pretty. I wanted like a creamy white color. Now the reason why I did that was because at my 2 local Dollar Trees, they just brought out Christmas flowers and they didn't have hardly any fall flowers at mine. So I had to go to a different store to pick these up. As I mentioned, I didn't like the color of those 3 garlands from Dollar Tree, so I'm gonna take them outside and spray paint them brown. Now, I'm not completely covering them with brown. I want the other colors to kind of come through a little bit. While those leaves are outside and drying, I'm taking 2 styrofoam pumpkins from Dollar Tree, and you probably guessed it, I'm gonna paint them white for a good base coat, and then I'm gonna use that antique wax over them because I want them to look kind of wooden and antique-ish and old. Look how pretty my leaves turned out. I really like how you can still kind of see some of those colors coming through. I didn't completely cover them, but it's going to be such a good contrast with those creamy white flowers. And now I'm using that antique wax with a bristled brush that is wet, so it goes on like this and not so dark, but of course you can use brown paint. And now for the fun part, I'm going to decorate it. So I am using some floral foam from Dollar Tree, and it comes already cut in 4 pieces. My pumpkins are dry. What I'm going to do is go ahead and add some different stems. So I just have a couple of cinnamon sticks, and I'm going to use them in there as stems. I'm going to be adding my leaves and flowers in there, and you'll see me move things around a lot in there just to get it to look how I want it, and I'll be just playing around with it until I like the way it looks. I know it looks kind of crazy right now, but trust me, at the end, I absolutely love the way the colors came together. I also have to make sure that the bottom part looks good as well because you can see it through the glass. Also, you'll notice after this clip that I do remove the orange leaves because they just didn't go that good to me. I really just wanted the dark brown and creamy colors to show. I pretty much love the way it looks already, but what I wanted to do was add these little Dollar Tree pumpkins. They came in a 3-pack on here, so I'm just gonna set them in there. Here it is all done. Now there are so many different ways to do this. You can go with whatever theme colors that you have for fall and change it up, but these are the colors that I really liked putting together, so I hope you enjoyed this one. Oh, my whole world is tainted by the colors of your touch. So make a change for us. Make a change for us. I said take a chance on us. Take a chance on us. Thank you so much for watching today's video. Please let me know which one was your favorite. I'll see you guys in the next video. I've been traveling alone, but now there's you. My whole world has changed.